So hey everybody, welcome back to Bow and Arrow Garage. So as you can see, I'm standing between my C6 Corvette and my C3 Corvette, and I have a crazy story about what happened in the last couple of days. So on Sunday, my daughter, my 18-year-old, my middle daughter, she is going to Bible college in Lufkin, Texas. And she and her choir group had gone on a trip to Conroe, Texas, which is just north of Houston. And she drove her car down, and after the concert, she went to start her car and it wouldn't start. And it was Sunday. We were thinking about having it towed different places, but being Sunday, everything was closed. So I decided that I was just going to drive up there and see if I can get the car going for her. Well, I jumped in my C6 Corvette, went around to the corner store to go put some gas in it, and heard the brakes dragging. Came back to the house, and my rear brakes were metal to metal. So I decided that I was going to go ahead and take my wife's Tahoe instead of the Corvette. Drove up there, started trying to diagnose what was going on with the car, but it was already after dark. I checked power to all the different things. The fuel pump wasn't getting power to it, but it took me forever to find where the location of the fuel pump. Anyways, long story short, I wasn't able to get it fixed that night, so we determined the best thing would be for me to go ahead and just drive her back to school, stay over on Monday, see if I can get the car going, and if not, at least get it towed to a shop. And then once it was fixed, then one of her friends could drive her down to pick up the car. Well, we started driving toward Lufkin, and mind you now, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and the transmission on my wife's Tahoe went out. So I'll take you for a little drive here in a minute and show you what it was doing. But I ended up basically having to rent a U-Haul trailer, loaded her car up on the U-Haul, drove her to Lufkin, dropped her off at school, dropped the car off at a repair shop, drove back to Conroe, Texas, loaded up my wife's Tahoe, and hauled it down here to San Antonio. So I'll take you for a little drive along in the Tahoe, show you what's going on, and I'll show you what my plans are. So the Tahoe still drives, but basically at the end of the day, it lost third and fourth gear. So as long as you stay under about, see the RPMs just jumping up there. I'll give you one more pull here. And if you keep your foot in it, it'll rev all the way up to 6,000 RPMs. So obviously it's not something you can drive. It's max out about 45, 50 miles an hour. So that's an issue. The vehicle has had issues for many years now. It's just getting worn out. The AC it still works as long as you're driving down the road. It blows cool, but if you stop to idle, then it would get warm, and so it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So there are so many different issues with the vehicle that we decided to go ahead and purchase her another vehicle, which we have done. We bought her a truck. It's not new, but it's going to be functional for her. So unfortunately, when we kind of reached out and to see what they would give us on the trade-in for this thing, and they were going to offer us $500. The car has 205,000 miles. It's got all the exterior blemishes that you would consider normal for a car that has 205,000 miles. And so it's just one of those things where it's really not worth a whole lot, but it's worth more than $500 in my mind. And so I'm going to jump out and I'm going to kind of show you one thing that I'm thinking about. So here's my 84 C10 sitting next to the Tahoe. without question, the Tahoe is a better vehicle than the C10, but the C10 is something that people just love. And so at the end of the day, my thoughts are that the two shall become one. I have been looking for basically a better chassis for the C10. It looks good from the outside. I mean, it needs painted, but it looks pretty sharp going down the road. But at the end of the day, it drives like mess. And so I was thinking about doing several different things. And what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and try to pull the body off of this Tahoe chassis and basically put the body of the C10 on this chassis. That will be for future reference. For right now, we're just going to have to kind of move forward with what we got, but that is the plan. So anyways, that's kind of where we are with the C10 and the Tahoe. Like I said, the Tahoe actually is a much better vehicle than the C10. Just it's better built and just all the way around. But you know, as far as value goes, a vehicle is only as valuable as what someone will pay for it. And so the interior of the Tahoe is well worn. Like I said, the car's got 205,000 miles on it, and the interior looks like it has 205,000 miles on it. It looks like it has 300,000 miles on it. It needs to be painted. My wife hates the color of it. I actually like it myself, but it's her vehicle. So anyways, the vehicle we got her, I don't think she's going to love the paint on it either, but that is what it is. We may address that in future videos. But anyways, like I said, the Tahoe is a much better vehicle than the C10 is, but the C10 has the collector's value. People love that truck. Right now, it needs to be painted just like crazy. It's ugly as can be, but I still get compliments every time I drive that truck. And so if I could take the two of them and put the body of the C10 on that Tahoe chassis is just built like a tank. So it's a beautiful thing. I think it'll be a much better vehicle, but that's going to be something down the road. Right now, today I need to focus on getting these brakes on the C6 Corvette going. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to get this thing up in the air. I'm going to get these wheels off, and we'll take a look at the brakes. Okay, guys, it turns out it wasn't my rear brake pads. I didn't think so. I had checked them recently, and I thought they were good. It turns out to be my parking brake pads are delaminated from the hub. So I called around. I'm going to have to order the parts. So today I really don't have time to do it. So I'm just going to take these off and leave them out. I rarely ever use my parking brake, and I don't plan on using it. So for right now, like I said, I'm just going to take them off, and that way it's not making the grinding noise. I doubt it could break free and come out in there, but it's possible, I guess. You saw obviously how easy they came off. So I would hate for them to come loose and just get wedged in there or something. So anyways, that's what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to put it back together because, like I said, right now, if they can't get the parts for me, I could if I really tried. I'm sure somebody could get them, but today I just don't have the time. I'm going to get this thing back together. We got to go pick up my wife's car that we bought for her. And then we'll just have to address this at a later date. It's probably about time to go ahead and replace the rotors. But the brake pads, they're worn, but they're okay. So anyways, that's the direction we're going to take today. It's not something that I'm actually recommending to anybody, but for me, that's what I'm going to have to do right now. Okay, guys, so unfortunately this video is going to be cut kind of short. I didn't really get a whole lot accomplished today as far as the C6 Corvette goes. I pulled the brakes off, and obviously we saw what the deal was with the emergency brake pads. So that is what it is. I've got to get that stuff on order, and we'll get that changed out once the parts get in. I just got some good news on my daughter's car. It's good and it's bad news. So basically what had happened is when she went on her trip, she had stopped to get fuel, and apparently the fuel was extremely contaminated. So it clogged up the fuel filter. So basically, $50 worth of fuel is going to be flushed down the drain. We've got to change the fuel filter out. So thankfully they got the car running, but they had to order all the different things. So I'm very thankful for that. And my wife ended up with a new car out of it, or a new to her car at least. So at the end of the day, everything worked out fine. I'm very happy, like I said, that everything is working out, and hey, we're going to have to just move forward from here. So I want you guys' opinion actually on the C10 Tahoe chassis swap. Obviously, like I said earlier, the Tahoe is a much better vehicle at the end of the day than the C10 is, but we can build that C10 to make it a great vehicle. And I'm going to have to do a lot of research and figure out if the body of the C10 would even fit the Tahoe chassis. And don't get me wrong, you can make anything fit, but I want it to be kind of a pretty easy swap. The wheelbase is slightly different. The C10 is 1.5 inches longer than that of the Tahoe, but I've already kind of looked at it, and the gap between the cab and the bed is pretty big, so we can at least shrink that by 1 inch right there, and I think we would still have plenty of clearance. So I'm going to really look into that. The other option is just to build up the Tahoe, and we were looking at newer vehicles and stuff, and I saw a Tahoe RST. It's a newer one, and man, this thing was just a beauty. But honestly, I could take that Tahoe and make it look almost similar to that. Obviously, it's a different generation, but we could do a lot of work to that thing and really make it a pretty nice car. But right now, it's got so many issues. Obviously, the transmission, but the air conditioner's been acting up. It works fine when you're driving down the road, but when you stop at idle, it would start blowing warm air. The radio quit working a couple of weeks ago, and the only way we could do it is basically what was happening is it kept trying to eject CDs. If you look up on the forums, basically that'll cause your battery to die on you. And luckily our battery never did, but it could cause that issue. So I had to pull the fuse, and because of that, the park assist doesn't work anymore. The blinkers work, but the click when you put on the blinkers doesn't work. Just all kinds of stuff was affected by the radio. When you open the doors, you don't get the sound. And so honestly, you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, I could build that Tahoe up and make it a decent vehicle. And at the end of the day, the purpose of a vehicle is to get you from point A to point B. But I think that the C10 would be worth a lot more money at the end. And if I could make it work and make it work where it was actually a nice swap. So I'm going to look into all of that stuff. That'll be down the road once I finish up the C3. But for now, we had to give my wife a vehicle that she could rely upon, and I think we did. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut the video down here. Thank you guys for watching, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks.